Hey guys, it's Dragon Ball for Life here today, and I'm back with another video. Now, today's video, we're going to be reacting to Toaster XD's video called Why Goku vs. Kratos Isn't Close. Now, I think this is going to be a pretty interesting video. I was suggested by Sunik Sunil to check out another one called Dante vs. Yumagavi. I don't know how to pronounce it, sorry for that. But I don't know the other character. I do know, obviously, of Dante. You guys have seen me making some reaction videos to, discussions and topics about Dante's power, but I still don't know enough about the character to specifically state how powerful he is. It's just whatever information I got from other YouTubers. But for me personally, I was going to do that, but then I saw this and I thought this would be far more interesting for me to cover than that, so I will definitely cover this. Also, like I stated before, I am planning on redoing my, a Goku versus Superman death battle video where I just watched it and I talked about what they got wrong, part 1 and 2. But like I said, I was gonna one of my viewers by the name of Zone Z1 stated that he wanted to make a thumbnail for me, and that was the suggestion I gave out to him. So I will have to wait until he's done. So I'll be patient and just wait whenever he finishes it, and whenever he gives it to me, then I'll make the video so I can put the thumbnail on. But for right now, I'm gonna do other stuff, and I felt like this video was pretty interesting. Once again, if you guys have any suggestions, send it to me. Not just reaction videos, because I do like reacting to them, but I also want to talk about specific topics that you want to hear from either Dragon Ball or other anime, because I have watched, like, I think right at this point, like over 100 animes at this point. So I do have knowledge on other animes, just not as much as Dragon Ball. But if you give me one of the other ones, even if it's the one I didn't watch, I could just watch it and talk about whatever you guys want me to talk about. But for right now, let's get into this video.
Imagine you just finished watching Dragon Ball, a series about a boy named Son Goku who lived in the woods not having any social interaction, to the final episode of Dragon Ball Super where he enters the realm and that of the gods themselves. Goku obtaining this power and potentially even surpassing it might raise many questions. Kratos, the protagonist of the God of War franchise, who is notorious for his ability to defeat divine beings in combat, and even just straight up kill them, despite their immense power and godly status. Kratos has proven time and time again that he is more than capable of taking on these deities and emerging victorious. So, who wins? Goku or Kratos? This video was requested to me on Cash App, so if you'd like your video idea to be made, feel free to do so, although you're not obliged to. Also, if you're new to the channel, be sure to like and subscribe. It's free and you can always undo it if you feel the need to at a later time, and it helps me out in the long run. Enjoy the video. The topic of debate amongst Dragon Ball fans has been whether Goku has the ability to destroy the entire living world universe with his power. This topic has been discussed extensively over the years, and many fans are already well versed with the arguments with and against this possibility. However, for those who are new to the series, it may be helpful to provide an explanation. It is widely known that Goku and Beerus engaged in a battle during which they clashed fists and unleashed their immense power. This battle was so intense that it put the entire Universe 7 macrocosm, which contains multiple universe-sized bodies, at risk of being destroyed. The sheer force of these two beings colliding was enough to potentially wipe out everything in existence, mortals and gods alike. To truly grasp the power displayed on this feat, we first need to understand the complexity of a Dragon Ball universe, or more specifically, a Dragon Ball macrocosm. On multiple occasions, it's been stated that the Dragon Ball macrocosm is infinite in extent. This implies that it's an infinitely large system that encompasses a vast expanse of space and contains countless celestial bodies, such as planets, stars, galaxies, and even beyond that. This statement, an infinite space of light and darkness where the unknown lives, this describes the living world in Dragon Ball. It suggests that the living world is an infinite expanse of both light and darkness where anything unknown can exist. While some people argue that the Dragon Ball universe is not infinite, but rather infinitely expanding, due to this, it is important to distinguish between the concept of the universe and the living world. The universe in this context refers to the observable portions of the cosmos, which includes various planets, galaxies, and other celestial bodies. However, the living world is considered to be the entirety of the Dragon Ball universe, which includes not only the observable universe, but other planes of existence and alternate realities like the Demon Realm. Therefore, while the universe may be infinitely expanding, the living world itself is considered to be infinite in size. However, when Goku and Beerus clash, it's stated that mortals and gods alike will feel the consequences of these two clashing, meaning that it's not just the living world in danger, but actually the entire macrocosm, which holds not only the living realm, but also other infinitely sized bodies like heaven, hell, and the afterlife. To further support infinitely expanding universe but support infinitely living realm, this statement states that the infinitely expanded universe is determined mainly by the direction that each king manages, and the place managed by the king is supervised by the king of the world, and the gods of the north, south, east, and west manage the universe. Ultimately, the Great King God is supposed to oversee the entire thing, infinitely expanding in galaxy illuminations, tens of thousands of light years, hundreds of millions of light years. Countless unknown aliens, monsters live beyond stars where light cannot reach. In the Dragon Ball franchise, it is mentioned that heaven has the same size as the living world. This suggests that the spiritual realm is infinite in size, just like the living world, making heaven's existence just as vast and limitless as the living world. This statement implies that in the Dragon Ball universe, hell is larger than heaven, and both of these realms are infinite in size. Because of hell being larger.
Okay, here's a couple things I want to say. I want to pause right here because he's saying a lot of information. I think that's very important. And this is a discussion that we've had quite a bit on this channel too. And just in general, when we see it all the time. For people who are going against, what happened with Beerus and Super Saiyan God Goku, threatening the macrocosm and potentially wiping it all out, people keep on saying that that's not the case, but it's either people that are very misinformed and don't understand, or they just hate Dragon Ball and want to, downplay their power. Because us fans that actually do get into, power scaling and understand the power scaling of Dragon Ball, and not only that, but the fans that are, not biased, know 100% that yes, they did threaten the macrocosm and would have destroyed it. And it was stated by the narrator. I already explained that in one of my other videos before, but people still keep on going on with this narrative that they're not universal level, which I feel like is ridiculous because of its countless other characters. Even if they get a statement that they're universal, people take that and say, yep, they're definitely universal. So in other series, when somebody gets, a statement about them being universal, people consider them universal. But when we get showcases of it literally in the episodes and get statements along with it, then people want to just say, nope, it doesn't make sense, this and that. So I do feel like it's disingenuous right there. So 100%, without a doubt, arguably 100% that they would have destroyed the Dragon Ball macrocosm. So Super Saiyan God Goku in that movie was, able to just... I obviously Beerus put in some work too, back and forth. So Goku was around like almost, macrocosm level. He was definitely above universal level since he was going to destroy the living world universe with all the other ones. So he was definitely, universal at least at that time. And then well after that, he's been, multiversal. So I don't want to hear no arguments there. I even saw Forever World talking about it in, his Forever video. He said Goku's not universal. I'm like, are you an idiot? Did you not watch this franchise? How are you a Dragon Ball fan and still believe that they're not universal? It's just ridiculous to me in my mind. But I do disagree with the whole infinity thing. I've explained it before. The NASA is called Our Universe Infinite too. And it's not even infinitely growing. It's just a bench, a place mark by, NASA, because we don't know how, the rate in which the universe is growing, we don't know how big the actual universe is, one, and then two, we don't know when it will stop growing, so we just classify it as being infinite or infinitely growing. We just don't know. One thing we do know is that the universe will come to a limit. It's just that NASA and scientists as a whole, we don't know how big the universe is, and we don't know, when it will stop expanding. So we can't really say how big the universe is. So we just say it's infinite, but it's not literally infinite. And the Dragon Ball, living world also goes based off of our reality where it's the same size. So it is insanely huge. We just don't know exactly how big, and we don't know when it will stop growing. We do know it will. So the Dragon Ball universe is also not infinite. It's not infinite at all. It says infinite, but like I said, it's a place mark that we've seen. Just explain something that's hard to go in depth with. Now, I do like how we mentioned that heaven is the size of the universe, the living universe. I know in the representation when they draw it doesn't look like it, but it is. I mean, Tori is not to scale. It's just like a design and a model. It's not something to take literally. What's more important is the statements that come along with it, like the Supreme Kai's world being 1/10 the size of the macrocosm, so it is 1/10 the size of it, and heaven is stated to be the size of the universe. And the heaven is different than the afterlife, because the afterlife is just the entire top half that houses heaven, the sun that encompasses heaven, the checkout station where there's the cloud, and then beneath it, there's down hell, and then you have all the other stuff. So the afterlife is far bigger than the universe, than heaven itself. So when you think about it, it's insane because you have the universe. So we have already one universe there. Then we have heaven, which is the size of the universe itself. So we have two universes there. Then we have heaven's sun that orbits around it, which is a bit smaller. So it's not the same size as our universe, but it's almost the same size as our universe. Then you have hell, which is, he stated, it's bigger than heaven, which would make it bigger than the universe itself. So now we have a universe that's bigger than our universe, which I'm surprised because I've never ever heard how big specifically hell was. It always felt like they were a little vague about it, but he shows it right here. So it says right here, Yama's palace, gateway to the other world. Okay, the universe where all the interstellar planets, Earth, Arlia, Vegeta, Namek, and stuff happens. Hell, way bigger than heaven, which tells you a lot about human nature, which basically is saying that more humans go to hell, and they say humans, but that's mortals. So more mortals go to hell because of how evil they are in the Dragon Ball universe than going to heaven, meaning that there's also an imbalance of good and evil. There's far more evil people in the Dragon Ball universe than there's good people. But it didn't just say it's bigger than heaven, which is the size of a universe. It says it's way bigger. It says here, way bigger than heaven. So they emphasized on the disparity between those two sizes. And then it says right here, King Kai's world, a tiny high gravity planet with only a few miles wide. So yeah, that means that King Kai's planet is a couple miles wide and it has 10 times Earth's gravity, which is impressive. So this basically means we have one universe, two universes, one that's almost the size of a universe, one that's way bigger than a universe, and then one that's 1/10 the size of the macrocosm. Not just a universe, the macrocosm, which I wouldn't put it at the size of the universe, but still like a big fraction of the universe itself. So that means that we have five huge celestial spaces in the Dragon Ball world alone combined, and that's not even including afterlife, which the afterlife should be also way bigger than heaven, because you see it encompasses and holds in heaven, it holds in the star with it holds in the Grand Kai's planet, which I also forgot to mention. The Grand Kai's planet is smaller than heaven too, but it's still decently almost the size of it. And then you have the check-in station and everything else, meaning that the afterlife is even more insanely big. So the Dragon Ball world, even just destroying that one universe is like destroying multiple universes all at once. So it's a very big feat to accomplish. So I'm gonna let him go on, but I think it's really interesting. Like I said, I never knew how big hell was. All I heard was it's like a mirror world of the living world, so I assumed it was going to be the same size as the universe. I didn't know it was going to be even way bigger than heaven, which is already, universe size.
Than two already infinitely sized bodies, it is a countable infinity, or an Aleph null. A countable infinity is a type of infinity that can be put into a one-on-one correspondence with the natural numbers. Aleph null is the smallest infinity and represents the cardinality of the set of natural numbers, which is countable. This means that each element in the set can be assigned a unique natural number, and all the elements can be counted systematically. Although Goku's battle with Beerus was an incredible display of power, it pales in comparison to some of his later feats in Dragon Ball Super. As Goku becomes...
Okay, I want to stop there because he mentioned some mathematical formula with the infinity. Somebody, I remember one of my older videos, they put it in there. I did not know what the hell it was because, like I said, these ones, I've never been really that great with math, so I mainly focus on the visual and the scientific analysis of it, because when it comes to science, it's more of the visual stuff. The math, I don't really get in depth into, the calculus of that. So they mentioned it, I didn't know. So thank you to, Toaster for, explaining it to me, because I was kind of confused about what it meant. But I do disagree with the fact that it's infinite, because like I stated, it's Toriyama stated multiple times that the Dragon Ball universe is basically comparable to our universe, and he's using the same terminology that's used in throughout, like, what was given to us by scientists, as he's using in Dragon Ball. And we've heard the term and with our own universe as being infinite, but we also know through Hawking's radiation, which has been taken as serious, that the universe will have a limit to where it could, where the size will reach. It is expanding, meaning that it is not just naturally infinite size. It has to grow, but there's also talking about the fact that there will be a limit to it, meaning that it isn't infinite. So technically, our universe is not infinite. Neither is the Dragon Ball universe. It's just placement holder. I don't know what to call it, benchmark holder, whatever, for the actual size, because we don't know how to really quantify it or define how big it is going to be or how big it is. So I wouldn't say this is different multiple sets of infinity, like actual infinity where there's no end. You can't go from one place to another and just end to it, meaning that there's nothing that you can reach out. I don't think it's an infinite space. I don't think they're an infinite space in our world or in there, and especially definitely in there, because they show the representation where there's a limit, because we saw the edge of the universe when they did the Universe 6 versus 7 tournament. We saw the edge of Universe 7 connecting to Universe 6. So there is a limit to these universes, so that is not true. I don't believe it. That is infinite. And most other fictional worlds, I highly doubt they're also infinite if they have an endpoint. But there is a realm in the Dragon Ball, cosmology that is infinite, and that's the World of Void. The World of Void has not been shown or stated to have any end, whereas these ones, they have shown it, so it does kind of contradict that statement. So let's get back into it.
Becomes more familiar with his godly powers. He surpassed his previous limits by a significant margin. Even characters in Dragon Ball Z who were significantly weaker than Goku now, such as Buhan, was capable of tearing apart space using a technique called outside space, or an amped Weishaupt technique. This technique had the potential to crush the entire living world along with alternate dimensions. It's crazy how a character from the Buu saga, who was previously mopped by a simple Super Saiyan Potara fusion, could possess such immense power. However, this power still pales in comparison to Goku's power as a Super Saiyan God, as even a heavily suppressed Beerus was said to be too much for even a hypothetical full power Vegito, possibly even Super Saiyan 3 Vegito. And keep in mind, this is Beerus not even using a fraction of his power. At the bottom of the power scale, we witness Buu nonchalantly.
Okay, I disagree with the Boo thing. Here's the thing about the Boo thing. That move, what he was doing in the anime, was not in the manga. Not saying he couldn't do it, because of Super Boo, who's far weaker, could, break the dimensional barrier between the hyperbolic time chamber and reality by just screaming. Then Buhan, who's infinitely, well, I wouldn't say infinitely, but insanely more powerful than him, being able to muster up all of his energy to do it definitely can make sense. That's not the part I'm arguing about. The part that I'm arguing about is I wouldn't consider that a universal level feat, because I explained before that it was more of a domino effect, and then also the fact that he was warping space-time, and this was tearing holes through other dimensions besides just the hyperbolic time chamber, and these other dimensions, when they have the holes breach into them, they collapse in on itself, so it was going to destroy the Dragon Ball universe itself. But it wasn't because his power was destroying it. His power was basically attacking the weak points in the in the structure of the Dragon Ball cosmology, which was making it collapse on itself. And I already explained what the analogy of a house. You destroy the foundation, you can topple down the entire house. That doesn't mean you're destroying an entire house. Like if you're breaking with a sledgehammer, that doesn't mean your sledgehammer broke an entire house. You just broke the foundations of it, and as you did, the entire house collapsed in on itself. So technically, you did destroy it, but not fully. Though I do agree with the whole Beerus thing. Yes, 100% he could take on Super Saiyan 3, Vegito, full powered in that form, and body him, especially since we see how much more powerful Beerus has become as they move the goalpost with his power. And Boo's definitely is the lowest level of, highly powerful, feats that we've seen.
Only obliterating an entire galaxy in front of us, as confirmed by the Supreme Kai. Despite the possibility of destruction occurring over a span of 1,000 years, it would still result in billions of times the speed of light. This feat is even more impressive considering the vast size of a galaxy, which typically spans over 100,000 light years, and has an enormous volume. Even our current estimates of the Milky Way size are continually proven to be inadequate, and this level of power is still infinitely slower than feats that get reached in Dragon Ball Super, where you can genuinely argue things like infinite and immeasurable speed, depending on the way you view certain statements like Jiren transcending time, or this feat of Granola being able to outperform instant transmission in terms of speed. To elevate Goku's speed to an infinite level, we can refer to a feat where he causes the entire world of Void to tremble with just his aura alone. The world of Void is described as an empty space of infinite nothingness, necessitating an infinite amount of energy to create any disturbance. Some Dragon Ball fans contend that power and speed are interchangeable in the franchise, and this assertion is supported by instances as early as the Namek Saga. By applying this concept, it's plausible to suggest that Goku could attain an infinite speed. To truly
I don't fully agree with that. I do think that they do have more correlation, like strength, speed, and durability with these characters. They're more closely linked, but I don't think that they're exactly linked. So, like, if you can take, a universe destroying attack, that means that you can move across the universe at that speed or whatever. I don't think it's exactly the same, because we do see characters who are typically faster than stronger and more durable, and there's people with specific, specific advantages they have in certain areas. For example, Birder. Birder is not physically that strong or durable, but he is insanely fast. He's more fast than he is powerful. And then you see people like Raccoon who are stronger than they are fast. And then we also saw when they were able to raise their power up higher and get stronger, they got slower. So they are closely linked and they are interconnected, but I don't think they're exactly the same and matched. I think a character can be stronger or more durable and slower, or they could be faster and like less physically strong and durable, but they have more speed. Like, for example, Dispo, his power mostly came from his speed alone, whereas Jiren, he was more well-rounded, but I think his focus more on strength itself than his speed. And I think his strength and his durability were high, but I think his speed was a little bit lacking compared to those two.
To understand the extent of Kratos' strength, we must delve into the origins of the God of War series, specifically the first two games. In these games, Kratos is given the Blades of Chaos by the god Ares. However, Ares betrays Kratos and has him thrown into Tartarus. Despite this, Kratos manages to escape using only his sheer willpower. This is a truly impressive feat, especially considering that the beings holding him captive were the Furies. These powerful beings are later revealed to have created the entire dimension of Sparta, which could potentially be the size of a universe, as we see things like celestial bodies within it. Kratos encounters the Sisters of Fate, who are regarded as the mightiest and most formidable entities in the Greek mythology. During his expedition in God of War Ascension, the Sisters of Fate possess the power to control the destiny not just of humans, but also of titans, gods, and even inanimate objects. Their weaving of fate encompasses all of existence and history, as their threads reach across all aspects of life and time. Kratos emerges as a challenging adversary for the Sisters of Fate despite their immense might, as he resists their attempts to manipulate his destiny. Through sheer determination and grit, Kratos repeatedly triumphs over the challenges that comes his way, defying the predetermined fate designed for him. Upon his encounter with the Sisters of Fate, Kratos faced the all-encompassing power of fate personified. The Sisters' ability to manipulate destiny itself allowed them to weave Kratos' thread, which appeared to lead him towards an inescapable fate. Nonetheless, Kratos refused to succumb to the destiny, and embarked on a quest to break free from the Sisters' grasp. Kratos did not retreat even though he was outmatched by the Sisters of Fate. He battled against them with unwavering determination, gradually dismantling them, until he ultimately managed to defeat all three sisters at once. This feat not only enabled Kratos to conquer his predetermined destiny, but also eradicated the very manifestation of fate itself. Kratos' victory over these Sisters of Fate is even more astounding given that these beings were even more potent than the majority of the gods of Olympus. Nevertheless, Kratos managed to vanquish them through his exceptional strength. Following his betrayal by Ares, the god who bestowed upon him the Blades of Chaos, Kratos set out to supplant him in the Greek pantheon. He accomplished his goal by slaying Ares and taking on the mantle of the god of war. In the curse of his journey, Kratos confronted Atlas, the titan renowned for supporting the Greek realm. Kratos emerged victorious over Atlas and entombed him, taking his role to uphold the Greek pantheon. This was crucial in maintaining the distance between the Pantheon and the Pillar that bore the weight of the entire realm. The Pillar of the World held immense significance in the Greek Pantheon, as it possessed the capability to support everything within its vast expanse. In promotional materials, it's depicted as it being capable of sustaining the entire Pantheon-sized realm. Nonetheless, the destruction of the Pillar would result in the annihilation of all creation, causing the world to revert to its primordial state of chaos, from which all other primordials, including the world, emerged. Kratos triumphed over Atlas and his ascension to the position of the god of war, solidified his status within the Greek pantheon, and paved the way for even more remarkable displays of strength and power in subsequent games. God of War 4 features the World Serpent, a potent character who is caught by surprise, defeated in just 3 strikes by Boulder. Although this is an impressive accomplishment, the World Serpent remains incredibly formidable, having been able to harm and divide the World Tree with Thor's assistance. Kratos confronts even a stronger Boulder who has assimilated the Leviathan AGS and the fire from the Blades of Chaos. Despite his increased might, Kratos emerges victorious over Boulder in their battle. Kratos proceeds to confront Thor, who can shatter the Yggdrasil with just a single blow. The Yggdrasil is known to surpass space and time, and is incredibly intricate, with each branch being more complex than the previous one. The concept of Divinceology arises from this, implying that Kratos is at least infinitely fifth-dimensional. This is owing to the fact that the Yggdrasil is said to be boundless and infinite, rendering it impossible to measure or grasp fully. Kratos is facing a tougher version of Thor in God of War 5, who has been mentally and physically enhanced with a rage boost, and is already defeating Kratos. It's important to note that a weaker version of Thor could have killed Kratos during Ragnarok, when Kratos was weaker. In terms of speed, Hermes was able to travel through Tartarus, and Kratos struggled to defeat him. Despite being considered a lower tier character, in God of War 5, Odin was able to cast Skull and Hades into the sky while there was no time. In the same vein, Kratos is able to match Odin's speed while suppressing his hope and Spartan rage, indicating that even a weaker Kratos could keep up with Odin. This would suggest that Kratos possesses immeasurable speed, depending on where he is placed in the hierarchy. To put it simply, Koyama, who has made statements about the cosmology of Dragon Ball on Twitter, tends to overhype Goku's power level to an
I couldn't say too much about Kratos because, like I said, even though I play the games, there's a lot more through the lore, and there's the more fine details through the bios and stuff. And then there's also like other books, and I've never really gotten that in depth into Kratos' stuff. I do think it's a little weird because sometimes it's wonky because you have the stories where they make it sound powerful, and then you see the games, they don't do anything that crazy. They have done some crazy stuff, like obviously Thor sending the World Serpent back in time with hitting him so hard. That was pretty insane. But yeah, I can't really say much about him. I will say this: it is kind of weird that Kratos could fight the Sisters of Fate in Greece, but then when it came to Asgard and he was having his whole thing where he was gonna die and stuff, he couldn't fight his fate then, which I just feel like it's a little weird then for there, because it's like, so he already beat fate and he did it in a way where he was able to overcome reality, but then now he can't do it, and he just can't handle it. I know some people might say he probably got weaker since he left, but we've seen his strength, and it's still significantly powerful. So I think it's a little weird that he can't handle that, if I'm being honest.
unrealistic degree. He made tweets about flat-out outer-versal cosmology claims, but these claims are not supported by the creator of Dragon Ball, Toriyama. Koyama himself has admitted that his views on the cosmology are not valid, and Toriyama has never agreed with his interpretations. Therefore, any claims about outer-versal Goku based on Koyama's statements are not supported by the canon of the Dragon Ball universe. A common argument I've seen regarding Koyama being valid, despite verbatim saying that he isn't, is that Koyama was being harassed on Twitter to answer questions, so he had to answer them, right? Right? This is by far the worst argument I've seen when trying to debunk a blatant claim that is objectively wrong. If you are not Koyama, then you are not the one who says whether he meant the claim that he isn't valid. Koyama himself is. This is something I see flowing around whenever I make a Goku-related video, where people will comment these absurd outer-versal wanks for Goku, but it's genuinely crazy how many people actually buy this, and maybe I'll cover the entire wankage meta in a future video, but for this, I thought I'd get the main argument out of the way. Based purely on power levels, Kratos is stronger than Goku in every way. Kratos has higher attack power and speed than Goku, making him a formidable opponent in combat. While it is plausible that Goku might have immeasurable speed, I personally think that Kratos' speed is more consistent and reliable in terms of scaling. However, I don't think it's completely impossible to scale Goku to infinite or immeasurable speed, and there may be some arguments to be made in that regard.
So that was Toaster XD's video on why Goku versus Kratos isn't close. I didn't expect him to say Kratos was going to win. I know it kind of cut off towards the ending. Basically, my recording stuff like timer went off. So, but it was fine because it was basically towards the end anyway. Personally, do I agree with his opinion on Goku would lose to Kratos? I don't really know. Like I said, I don't know enough about Kratos to say that that's the case or not the case. He did make some decent arguments. I can't really refute it. But like I said, the gameplay is wonky because I think if you go based off of the lore itself, then yeah, Kratos has some insanely, OP feats. But if you go based off of what is shown in the game and what we see consistently there, it's not that level. He did say that Kratos is way faster than Goku and stuff like that, but Kratos hasn't really shown that level of speed just because he was able to beat characters that were fast. And like I said before, travel speed and combat speed are two different things. Just because Hermes is being able to run across like an infinite dimension, which we don't know if it's infinite. People throw that terminology out so much. This realm is infinite. That's infinite. But unless it's been proven that it is truly infinite and how big the size is, I can't really go based off of that. But also, even if that is the case, like I stated, travel speed and combat speed are two different things. Because when Kratos is fighting, he's nowhere near as fast as these guys. It's just that he is very skilled and very technical, that he knows the right moment to hit them and counter attack them. And Goku is, I think, definitely faster than him. But is he more powerful than him? I don't really know. Personally, I would say Goku is more powerful than Kratos. I wouldn't say Kratos is stronger than him, but I can't really definitively say that. That's probably just my personal belief on it. If you guys have any other information on Kratos' level of power, show it to me, because even with this new game, I don't think Kratos showed anything on that high of a level. Like, when they had the whole Dante versus Kratos thing, because I saw other stuff on it, I forgot which video, who made it on that. They said Dante would defeat Kratos. No, it was not Dante. It was Asura versus Kratos, and they're saying Asura would beat Kratos. Yeah, I think they were saying that. But I don't think Kratos is that powerful. I do think people do take things out of context way too much when it comes to that. Also, I think would be a good idea to do is, we always argue about how powerful are the Dragon Ball characters. Maybe us Dragon Ball fans, especially the ones in Japan, since they'll be having the best chance to, connect to Toriyama, should probably ask him more of these questions. We don't have to be really specific, like, oh, how powerful is Goku? But we could just ask him stuff like, oh, could have Kid Buu destroyed a galaxy by himself? How powerful is Goku? What is he capable of? Because I feel like if you ask Toriyama a straightforward answer, even if you might give an answer that might not be correct, at least we can get a little bit more of an understanding on where he views Goku and the rest of the Dragon Ball characters' power in general. So yeah. But personally, like I said, I don't know enough about fully Kratos and what he is capable of, especially if his guidebooks and like whatever stuff they have additionally does match up with what we've seen in the games. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed, and stay tuned for next time.